Hi there, my name is Josh Gilpin. I'm a guitar instructor with Chord Lessons, and I'm located in Austin, Texas. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on power chords, how they're used, when they're used, what types of music you typically hear them in, a little bit of theory behind it. We'll look at how we put it on the guitar neck, and we'll also we'll play some examples so you have something to work off of. First off, when you are looking at maybe a sheet of music with lyrics on it and you have chords above the lyrics, that's called a lead sheet symbols, and um, you want to know when you're seeing a power chord how it's written out. So if you see a major chord, maybe, so let's say you saw an A major chord written above the lyrics, it would just say a capital A. And if we had an A minor chord, then it would say capital A with a little M, and that was a note minor. Now, if you see a power chord, and we'll talk about the A chord, because we already talked about the A major and A minor chords, it would be A with a 5 next to it, so it would be A5, and that's an A power chord. The reason it says A5 is because the information it's giving you is telling you that you're actually eliminating the third of the major or minor chord. So in a major chord, you have a root, a third, and a fifth. And of an A major chord, that's A, C sharp, and E. And then an A minor chord, your root, third, and fifth are A, C, and E respectively. Now when you talk about an A5 or A power chord, all we're playing is the root, and then the fifth, and then the root doubled. So we're playing the root twice and the fifth in between there. We've eliminated the third, so it takes some of that personality or that distinctive quality of the major or minor chords out of there, which gives it its own unique personality. In my opinion, it's kind of a hollow sounding chord. The root and the fifth are typically looked at as the shell of the chord and not really the color. So it's kind of an open-ended sounding chord, and it's really just an interval, but when you put it in the context of a chord or harmonic progression, it is a chord. It's just you have a little more leeway with it because you don't have the third in there telling you specifically what's happening. So the power chord is not a major or a minor chord, it's just a power chord. It's a root and a fifth of each chord. Now, putting that on the guitar, we're going to do this all at the 5th fret with a root on the 5th fret. So I'm going to start on string set 6, 5, 4. My finger 1, my index finger is going to go on the 5th fret of the 6th string, and then finger 3 is going to go on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and finger 4 is going to go on the 7th fret of the 4th string. That's an A5 or A power chord, and that is typically the fingering you will see most people use. There's many different variations, but this is what's used very heavily. And if we take that to the next string set 5, 4, 3, we're going to use the exact same shape. Finger 1 is on the 5th fret of the 5th string, finger 3 is on the 7th fret of the 4th string, and finger 4 is on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Now we've changed the root, we've changed the chord, so before we were playing an A5 chord, now we're playing a D5 chord, D power chord, on string set 5, 4, 3. Now if we move that to the next string set 4, 3, 2, the fingering changes a little bit. It has to do with the way the strings are arranged. So if we take that shape to the next string set on 4, 3, 2, we're actually going to raise our pinky up a half step by 1 fret. So everything is the same except for the pinky. We have finger 1 on the 1st fret of the 4th string, finger 3 is on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and finger 4 is on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. And we've changed the chord again. This is now a G5 or G power chord. And then the last set, string set 3, 2, 1, we're going to move that shape. So finger 1 is going to be on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, and then we're going to eliminate finger 3, and you can bar with finger 4 on the 8th fret for the 1st and 2nd string. Some of you may be more comfortable using your third finger. I like using my fourth because I can move it around easier, but that's up to you. So let's review those shapes real quick. We're using fingers 1, 3, 4 for every single one except for the last one that I just played with, which was just fingers 1 and 4. So we're on to frets 5, 7, 7. Then we go to the next string set, 5, 4, 3. We're on frets 5, 7, 7 again. Same arrangement. Then we go to the next string set, 4, 3, 2. Our pinky goes up a half step. And then we cross to the next string set 3, 2, 1, and we use pinky to bar. Right, so we're on the 5th fret and then the 8th and the 8th fret there. And a drill that's real important, or a drill that you could use, and information that you would want to feed to yourself, and it's very helpful in terms of learning notes on the guitar, is learning your notes specifically on your 6th, 5th, and 4th string. You want to know your notes all over the neck, of course, and that will eventually happen. But I would recommend starting on the 6th string, moving to the 5th string, and the 4th string. And the way you do this is basically by calling out all the pitches from low E to E on the 12th fret. So we're basically traveling 1 octave. And I won't explain all the steps just because we have limited time. But essentially you have to have a little bit of background in theory. You want to know about the musical alphabet and understand how sharps and flats work. So we're going to use just finger 1 on our left hand, and we're going to move from E, open E on the 6th string, to E at the 12th fret. I'm going to use sharps as I travel up the neck towards the body of the guitar, and I'm going to use flats as I go back down. So anywhere where I'm calling out sharps and flats, those notes have 2 names that are commonly used for those pitches. So we hear the same thing, but they have 2 different names. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to go from open E to the 12th fret and then back down. Sharps going up, flats going down. So we've got open E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. And now we're at the 12th fret, double dots there. And we're going to go back down with flats. E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, and E. The reason that's important is because you can apply this to, you'll be learning many, many new chords as you continue to play guitar, and you can use knowing where these pitches are to basically put these chord shapes on the guitar. And that's something we can do with this power chord shape. So if I started right here with fingers 3 and 4 on the 2nd fret of the 5th and 4th string respectively, I've got an E5 chord. Now if I scoot everything up a half step, I've got an F power chord, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, so on and so forth. So you can use the drill that you were just using to find those chords. What you would want to move on to after going through all the sharps and flats is scrambling the pitches up so you can test your knowledge of where the pitches actually are rather than just going straight up the alphabet, because that's a little more obvious and you want to challenge yourself to actually learn it. Now I'm going to play a few examples for you. I think one of the first tunes that ever used power chords, if I'm not mistaken, was Rumble by Link Ray, and he used a lot of distortion and tremolo when he was plugged in. So I'm going to be on acoustic. It won't sound exactly the same, but you get the idea. Here we go. So that was just 3 power chords with 1 root on the 6th string, 2 roots on the 5th string. was an A power chord, a D power chord, and an E power chord, and a little pentatonic lick. That's really the whole song for the most part. Anyways, next example, I think this is pretty cool. Led Zeppelin's song Rock and Roll. They titled it Rock and Roll, and they used power chords throughout the tune, so it kind of insinuates this is the style of music that you would use these chords in. Anyways, the way that's played is this. Next example is Black Sabbath's Iron Man. And then the very memorable lick from the Kinks using power chords, You Really Got Me. Very easy to play, but also a lot of fun. And next one, probably the most popular power chord riff today is Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple, and probably one of the first songs that a lot of people learn to familiarize themselves with the power chord idea. Next example is Boston, More Than a Feeling. And another song that's more modern than that, but sounds very similar in terms of the progression, but a very different style of music, is Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. And then the last example is makes use of power chords in a little bit of a different way. It's Money by Pink Floyd. The main riff uses a power chord arpeggiation. Anyways, that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to find me on Take Lessons. Check out the website. Again, my name is Josh Gilpin, guitar instructor in Austin, Texas. Good luck, and feel free to hit me up if you have any questions. Take care. Bye.